So, good evening, Nick. How are you going? It's good to see you again.
I'm good, thank you. And it's good to see you, Lynn, as well. Hello, everyone at home, and thank you for joining us today. Today we're hoping to talk a bit about failure.
Talking about failures, sometimes we get clients that come in who seem to have had a catastrophic event in their life where they feel as if they've totally failed and it's really difficult to pick themselves up again. Is that the sort of thing you mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we live in a society where the word failure is quite prominent.
Very powerful.
Very powerful. And we use words like losers. Some years ago, we referred to people who have nots as unfortunates. We used to refer to people who didn't have as an unfortunate person.
Yes.
Today something changed, and we sort of subscribe to that opinion that anyone could do anything if they just put their minds to it. That's a very difficult thing to believe in, because if that's the case, and I want to be rich and famous and I am not.
Or President of the United States.
That's right, that's right. I am in some way a loser or a failure. And we see that in our community. A lot of people sort of live in a world where they believe that they are losers or are in some way a failure. I guess that's a very painful place to be in, a very difficult world to live in. And I would like to propose a different view on failure today. I guess we live in a society where goals are very important, where bottom line, the word bottom line, is an expected outcome. It's something that we subscribe.
Drives so many things in our life, all the companies, the banks.
Absolutely. How thick one's wallet is, how expensive the suit, how big the car is, etc., etc., etc. That often underline our worth. Now, something interesting happens here. Notice that if we look at any one of those goals, the size of the car, the thickness of the wallet, or even the kind of job I'm doing or the kind of education I have, vast majority of the factors within that goal are outside of my control.
Outside your control.
Absolutely. So if, say, I have a very typical Western goal of buying a house or owning my own house, well, I don't control the economic situation in the world. I don't control the political situation, the stock market, the real estate market.
Or the bank manager.
Or the bank manager, absolutely. I don't control my employer, don't control my salary. Well, if I could, I'd probably have an unlimited salary, right? But I don't. And something interesting happens here. See, if we sort of look in pure mathematical terms, if I focus my attention and my efforts on pursuing something which I have limited control of, what do you think is likely to happen to my confidence?
Well, if you set a goal too high for yourself, you know, I know that's something that happens a lot, is that we can suffer a feeling of failure.
Absolutely.
We haven't been able to attain that goal.
And that's absolutely true. Setting goals that are attainable is very important. But there's something else that we see in research, that when the goals are set, where a lot of the factors are outside of our control, our confidence is reduced. And an interesting thing happens here, where our confidence is reduced and I'm focused on a goal where a lot of the factors are outside of my control, my anxiety increases. And then what happens to my performance? It is likely to be negatively impacted. I'm likely to lose my performance a bit here. So some examples in research include many different settings, but consider sports. An athlete who is focused on winning the game does not control what the ref does not control the judges, does not control the weather, doesn't control the internal events, doesn't control the team and the opposing team and what they bring to the game. They don't even control their own team members and what they bring to the game. We see in our research that this focus on winning is likely to reduce their performance. Whereas if we focus that athlete on bringing the best game that they can,
Okay.
their confidence increases because they focused on something that they can
They
control.
can control, yes.
Anxiety is reduced and our performance improves as well. This is in sports, we see the same in educational settings, and we recently had saw an outcome of a study where the kids who were doing a standardized test were told, it's okay if you fail. Just focus on doing the best job you can on the test. And their performance improved.
Right.
It seems like it is also the case in organizational settings where if we focus an employee on, or an employee's effort on producing outcomes for the company, be it sales or be it producing a certain item, it seems like people start almost sabotaging the job of their colleagues so that they produce more compared to them. It seems like because a lot of the factors are outside of that worker's control, we perceive it as outside of our control. Whether or not it is, it's hard to say. It seems like our performance is reduced, burnout increases, and staff turnover increases. Whereas the opposite way would be focusing on that worker's skills and what they bring to the organization. It seems like in that setting, people cooperate a lot more and share information. And in sort of with their focus being on what they can control, and it's their own performance and developing their own skills, it seems like their confidence is increased and their performance increases as well. And in the end, the organization benefits as well. Now, here we're talking a bit about well-being. And in our well-being, focusing on what we can work towards can be a lot more helpful than focusing on goals where a lot of the things are outside of our control. For example, if the goal was that house or owning my house, I might want to explore why it's important for me to own that house. What is it about me that isn't, I guess, what does it tell about me that I want to own this house? Okay. It might be providing safety, stability or security for my family. So I can act on those values on safety, stability and security for my family. This is something I can act on every day. I don't have to wait for a couple of years until I provide my family with a house, and until then consider myself a loser. I can act on my values that underlie buying that house. But I cannot control whether or not I eventually have a house.
Okay, so you're saying that people in society today, rather than setting a high-level goal of purchasing a house in 5 years or something like that, they should look at what that house means to them and say, okay, it means that it will be a safe, secure place for my children to grow up in, or something like that. Absolutely. And I can still provide that for them and still be a success.
Absolutely. That way it provides you with, I guess, a focus of attention on things that you can control and pursue every day, right, rather than some remote goal that you might not control fully.
Yeah, so the global financial situation goes bad again or something like that, we've lost that control, and the Absolutely. House might be moved out 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely.
We don't have to become a failure at that point.
And that might impact on our well-being.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks very much. That's good to know.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you everyone for joining us at home. I guess if there's one thing that you can take from this talk is focusing your attention on things that you can control, things that you can act on, can increase your well-being, improve your performance, and actually result in more likelihood that you will attain those long-term goals. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.